There are two other offerings, but they're not really offerings. And we've already gone over a lot of them. If you look at the 5 offerings, the burnt offering, meal offering, peace offering, sin offering, and trespass offering. The heave offering and the wave offering are part of each one of those. And we've kind of already gone over a lot. This is the payment to the priest. So each one of those offerings contains something either called a heave offering or a wave offering or sometimes both. The heave and wave offering, heave is teruma, which means a present, especially in sacrifice or as tribute. It's a portion of the gift. Wave is tenufa, which is a brandishing, the official undulation of a sacrificial offering. I get frustrated with some of these definitions because they're very religious. But that was basically the whole of the gift. The heave offering was giving part. The wave offering was giving a whole. Some of the examples: the shoulder heave and the breast wave of the peace offerings. Gold, silver, and brass were wave offerings also when they started the tabernacle. It's not translated wave, but it's the same word. Cloth, oil, incense, and stones were wave offerings in the tabernacle. And bread is a wave offering. Whenever the offering is going to pay for the tabernacle or its service or the priests, it's a wave or a heave offering. It's to be brought to the tabernacle, given to the priests for payment, to be heaved up by the priest. It's eaten in the holy place with children or with their family. The family must be clean to eat. Anything that was going into the holy place must be clean. That means you're not sick, you're not contaminated, you don't have any kind of a disease.
And you weren't around a dead person.
Yes, well, exactly. That's what I mean by that. If a family member just died and you had to bury them, whatever they had is now possibly with you. It's a bad word, but we kind of quarantine. Yeah, we don't like that word in America, but it's a good principle.
Yeah.
You know, when we're sick, we stay home.
We should.
As a teacher, I get frustrated at all these kids coughing and sneezing in my classroom. I was like, stay home. So I totally understand. The right shoulder of the peace offerings, the offered for meal offerings, from the sin and trespass offerings, these are all examples of it. The skin of the burnt offering, and the 10th of all tithes, and it's part of the spoils taken in war. All of these, because our civil service can't get them because they're doing work in the tabernacle, go to the priests. The wave offering is almost the same list. I'm just going to go through them really quick. Given to the priests for payments. To be waved by the priest. It's a different movement. Eaten in the holy place with your family. The family must be clean to eat. You can see how these are very similar statutes. To be the best of their kind. For the consecration of a priest, you'd give a wave offering. The breast of all peace offerings is a wave offering. From the sin and trespass offering are wave offerings. For the first fruits of crops. And for the jealousy offering. And finally, the boiled shoulder of the Nazarite peace offering. I wanted to go through fast because we're going to touch on, we've already touched on some of them. The rest of them, they're actually covered in a lot of the other statutes. Like we haven't talked about the Nazarite vow yet. But when we do go over that, we'll understand, we'll see those. The last one is a drink offering. There's 4 statutes for that. It shall be given with the burnt, peace, and meal offerings. Shall be a quarter of a hin for a lamb. Shall be a third of a hin for a ram. And shall be a half of a hin for a bull. What was the drink offering? It's very simple, you guys. The drink offering was offered with the other offerings, with the continual burnt offering, with the Nazarite vow, and given during the feasts. With the burnt offering, peace offering, and meat offerings, it was poured out on the altar. This was only a portion of the offering. The rest of the offering was drank with the meal. Our modern toast, did you know, comes from drink offering? When you raise the glass, it comes from raising the drink offering, pouring it out. We see that in movies today sometimes, pouring out an offering. This is a modern thing we do. We're not quite doing it right, but it's something we do. It's done in celebration and feasting. Okay, so the drink offering was basically the drinks for all these offerings. That's all it was.
Who wants to eat their food without something to drink?
Exactly. So what is the spirit of these laws? Remember, the spirit of the laws, the intent of the lawmaker is the law. Can we meet the spirit of these laws today? I honestly think we can. For example, the burnt offering was for contracts. A burnt offering, we call this notarization today. Remember, God keeps covenant for 1,000 generations. He is the faithful God, which keeps covenant to 1,000 generations to those that love him and keep his commandments. Keeping our contracts is very important to God. He himself takes great joy in keeping his word. We ought to be men and women who keep our word. Every time we say something, we need to do it. We used to do that in America. It used to be that we could shake hands and you would know that when someone gives you their word, they were going to keep it or die trying. Today, that's not very true. Perhaps America should hold people more accountable to breach of contract. If we did, maybe we would go back to that time where people would keep their word in America. The sin offering is a fine for committing a crime, and the trespass offering is a fine with punitive damages. The sin offering, we simply call this a fine today. The trespass offering, this is what we would call a fine, but also carries punitive damages. So when you commit a sin, that's not quite as bad as committing a trespass. Perhaps the spirit of this law is simply that America would have tougher punishments to crime. Look at it this way. If every time someone got a ticket for speeding, they had to go buy a lamb, kill that lamb, cut it up, and burn it on an altar, and then pay a fine as well, I guarantee the rate of speeding would drop in America. The peace offering is food regulation. We do this in America today. America does this offering today. Our judicial system still regulates meat. In fact, they require that we bleed out our animals and trim off the fat. The only place I can think of that we actually break this law is by allowing unclean meat such as pig or shellfish to be used and allowing too much fat to be left in the meat. Today, I believe it's 30% that we allow in our meat. This is far too much fat that we allow in our meat. We should require that meat be at least 90% lean or more. The meal offering was for food regulation for crops. America does this offering today as well. Our judicial system regulates our crops. We break this law by a couple of different ways. First, we should not allow GMOs. Leviticus 19:19 specifically forbids this. We also should not eat fruit from trees under 4 years of age. These are the two statutes that Americans probably break regarding the meal offering. The heave offering and wave offerings, they were payments for our priests. Those are our judges in our judicial system. America does this offering to this very day. We pay our judges well in America. We may not use physical property like a lamb or a meal. We simply use the monetary system that America has founded. In fact, 10% of all fines from our state courts are paid to our federal courts. This is a commandment that comes straight from God. Our state courts are the Levitical priesthood. Our federal courts are the Aaronic priesthood. We do this statute to this very day. The drink offering was a toast and celebration. Drink offerings were always done with other offerings. This was always done in celebration, and the drink offering is what turned into the Greek libations, which turned into our modern toast. The drink offering was simply the drink that was prepared with the meals that we ate from our offerings. So, quick review. The burnt offering was for contracts. Do we do that today? Do we sign contracts? Do we notarize them?
Yes.
Would it be a lot more effective if we actually had to go through that process?
Possibly.
I think it would. I really do. I think if America were doing these things, we would be better off. The sin offering was a fine for committing a crime. If we actually had to kill an animal and go through that work, or is it going to deter us from sin?
Possibly.
I think it is. The trespass offering, a fine with punitive damages, same thing. Remember what Paul said? The law is not for a righteous man, but for sinners. Most of us would never even deal with this. How often do you go to court? That's as often as you'd be doing this. It's not like it's a big deal. The sinners would be going to court dealing with this. We wouldn't, because we're choosing to do what's right. So we don't want to look at it as anything more than that. The peace offering was for food regulation. We actually do this quite well in America. The meal offering was for food regulation. I don't think we do this as well, but we have a lot of genetically modified in our food today. The heave offering was payment for the priests, and the wave offering was payment for the priests. We pay our judicial system quite well. So we actually do this quite well in America. And the drink, we do. They get paid quite well. And the drink offering was a toasted celebration in our feasting and for the priests. The spirit of the law is the intent of the lawmaker is the law. Can we meet the spirit of these laws today? Do you think we can?
Yes.
I think we can. And I think in many ways we're doing it.